Hello there. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Kukumlimle on digital address GA0992539. Our top stories this hour. Securing the state as armed robberies and murders surge. This afternoon, Interior Minister Ambrose announces all MPs to get personal bodyguards. We're on the ground. We'll tell you more. And when a child becomes a mother, today we talk the challenges of teenage motherhood as we look back at the International Day of the Girl Child. Disqualified in 2016, determined to be on the ballot box. Today we hear the policy and governance alternatives of APC presidential candidate Hassan Ayaga as we ask why minority political parties or smaller political parties perform terribly at elections. Join us on DSTV 41, GoTV 144. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. You can drop me a message, a WhatsApp message on 054-0109-009. My name is Gifty Andopia. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest. Welcome to the show. It's not the first time we're hearing him make announcements. Today, Interior Minister Ambrose has announced that all members of parliament will get personal bodyguards and 200 police people are to be deployed by the IGP to Parliamentary Protection Unit to protect individual MPs. This was announced a moment ago after a currently closed-door meeting that happened and which was meant to brief parliamentarians on security plans for them. Members of parliament say they will make a case for special security as they admit they are shaken by the recent death of the Infantiman MP.
You have been abreast with happenings in parliament which culminated in my invitation to come and talk on the floor about measures put in place to protect members of parliament. First of all, to put it in context, I want you to note that security for parliamentarians has always been the principle. Actually, from 1992, we had the Parliamentary Protection Unit of the police established here. What has remained over the years is that extent to which the security has been provided, which is directly related to the situation of the security agencies over the years, capacity to do so, among others. So I want you to understand that the protection of members of parliament is part of the general national security architecture, which, first of all, is being taken care of by a number of strategies that have been put in place. You have enhanced crime life, which is fighting armed robbery and violent crime. We've had Operation Conquest Phase, protecting our borders. And within that, we have the protection of members of parliament. However, the truth of the matter on the ground is that so far, the extent has been limited. First, the presence of parliament is protected by security, the police. And so that gives support to what I was talking about. But when we live here, there is no protection for us. When you look at those categories of persons who are provided, first, bodyguards, second, residential protection by the police for day and night, they fall into that group that we deal with under Article 71. And so the security is certainly part of those facilities that should be available to members of parliament. Indeed, it is on record that one of my predecessors at the ministry, Honorable Okaja Demofio, was ever confronted with the paucity of security at the time, and his response appropriately was that they didn't have sufficient men. Today, thanks to the retooling of the security agencies supported by Parliament, instituted and led by the president, we have more security agencies and security personnel available. So what we have proposed is that between now and the end of the year, we are going to provide additional 200 police personnel to be part of the Parliamentary Protection Unit, making it therefore attain the status of a divisional police command that would take care of members of parliament as bodyguards, but we ideally, to get to where we should get to, subsequently, we should have 800 police added so that each member of parliament will also have security at home in the day and night. The judges do have that. Ministers do have that. Indeed, leadership of parliament, the speaker, deputy speakers, and leadership has that. So thanks to the retooling, we've got adequate police personnel to deal with the 200. But we have to move it further, because you do know that just like the judges are exposed because they take decisions that affect people adversely, the MPs are even worse. Because how many of you know the judges who sit on cases each day? But here, our sittings are telecast live. When a member of parliament gets up to speak, his name is printed or her name is printed, and then you do know that very serious decisions are taken here, which have ramifications for some people, that they bring proposals that are either not accepted or they are reduced, whatever it is. They know what each individual party member of parliament says in the House. So that is one. Secondly, we do know that in our politics, we still are working to perfect our capacity for tolerance. And therefore, we can have situations where members of parliament are exposed. So indeed, what I came to do today was to tell Parliament what we can do now to end the year. But ultimately, since security is also the right for members of Parliament, we hope that the retooling that the President is pursuing, we get many more security personnel and be able also to provide for them like we provide for analogous category of persons. So that's the general statement that I want to make. If you have questions, I'll take.
Yeah, we do.
Is that okay?
The Speaker's directive, we're supposed to brief.
So that is the Interior Minister, Ambrose addressing the media in Parliament after he had a closed session with the members of Parliament as far as security is concerned. Now, it looks like what he has just said has settled the debate. If you know, when the member of parliament from Fantiman was killed, parliamentarians said that they needed security as well. From the majority leader to the minority leader, the argument has been advanced that members of parliament are at a higher risk even than some other Article 71 members who are or who have protection. Well, the Interior Minister is announcing that perhaps starting today, members of parliament will be given day and night bodyguards. So they'll have bodyguards at their homes and they'll have bodyguards during the day when they make their movement. He talks about the enhanced Operation Calm Life, which the police announced some time back when armed robberies were rampant, when we were actually seeing blatant broad daylight robberies. That was announced. We don't know how far that has gone. He also talks about Operation Conquered Fist, which is largely centered in border areas where he says is to protect our borders. He says that the security agencies have been retooled, and because of that, we have enough personnel available to take care of this new arrangements. In this new arrangements, the parliamentarian police, if you like, or police stationed in parliament, will have the status of a divisional police command. He says they are adding 800 police officers to this particular command to protect the members of parliament. But what does that mean for people like you and I? And I'd love to hear from you. Drop us a WhatsApp message on the number that we'll put on the phone. We'll be talking on the TV. We'll be talking to Joseph Opoku Gakpo. In the meantime, what does it mean? Already, Well, already we don't, or Ghana does not meet the UN, preferred 1:500 police public ratio. We don't meet that. So we're putting 800 more police officers to Parliament, reduce that ratio. Will it hamper that ratio in any way? Let's go live to Parliament. Seth Champong is the chairman of the Defence and Interior Committee, and he's joining me live. Hello, Mr. Champong. Hi there, Mr. Champong. I'm hoping you can hear me. Do you? Okay, we'll try and link up with him and link up with Joseph Opoku-Dakpo as well, who is on the ground for us. But if you're just tuning in, the Parliament or police station at Parliament are getting the status.
No, it's okay. You can go ahead and let's talk.
Okay.
Oh,
great.
My goodness.
Mr. Champong, I can hear you. It's okay. There's a little bit of a delay, which is fine. So you're going to hear me a little after a few moments after I speak, which is fine. So Parliament or the police station in Parliament will now have the status of a divisional police command. 800 more personnel added to protect you and your colleagues. Will that not reduce the police public ratio, which already is inadequate?
Thank you very much for having me this afternoon. I think there's some misinformation in the numbers. The status of a division police is to raise the numbers to a 200. They are offering us an additional 200 police officers and men so that Parliament Police District will be raised to the status of a divisional police command. 200. This is an interim measure, as the Minister of Interior spelled it out here this afternoon at his press encounter, post-meeting, Mr. Speaker, and Parliament in a closed meeting. This is what he said out here. A question was posed, and then he came back to say that in the long term, their calculation will be that they would increase it, and that will be in the 8th Parliament, post the retooling and the additions by His Excellency the President in ensuring that we increase the numbers to meet the ratios. Then a fully fledged representation will get a support of to the 800 number. That is the understanding as he spoke here with us on the precinct of Parliament at the lobby, and that is how I captured his statement.
Very well. I really appreciate you correcting that figure for us. So bottom line, at the end of the day, you're looking at post this particular Parliament, 800 police officers there. This retooling that you talk about, we've had retooling over and over, but we still have a shortfall when it comes to police public ratio. What is in this retooling that you talk about? Is it about recruitment? If it is, what have you discussed so far? This sounds or looks like a knee-jerk reaction to what has happened, and because it involves a member of Parliament.
Thank you very much. I would dare say this is not a knee-jerk reaction. This has been a conversation that has been ongoing. It's just coincidental that we lost our colleague, and it necessitated an invitation by Right Honourable Speaker, and the Minister would have to disclose this information at this juncture. But this is a conversation that has been ongoing. If we're minded by history, under His Excellency President Jerry John Rawlings, a similar matter broke. Then the service told through us, the minister who then represented the service was the Honorable Ni Okaija Adamafio. Then our numbers in respect of ratios were way outrageous, so we could not raise the numbers to meet up. But under this administration, the numbers have improved from 32,000 men and officers to 37,000 and over men and officers that we have in the service. And by the administration's decision communicated to us at the press briefing by the sector minister this afternoon, these are the explanations he offered to us. And so I am mandated to speak to same as I engage you.
Very well. The Member of Parliament or the Interior Minister is one of the most sought after people by the media since security concerns surged. We've been looking for him to talk to him. He has not spoken to the nation. And today we hear him and he's talking the arrangement that he's communicating to the country concerns security about Member of Parliament, of which a group of which he belongs. But he doesn't seem to address the security concerns for ordinary Ghanaians like me and like my grandmother and like my mother.
Thank you very much. I'm sure you know that it was on a specific matter of invitation by Right Honorable Speaker. And in the same vein, the Speaker has mandated us and offered us opportunity. And my committee have equally written to the Minister to come and give us a generic brief in committee. This was in respect of the immediate concern bordering on the Republic's legislature. And the Speaker, being the Speaker of our Parliament, decided with leadership to allow the Minister come and brief the House on the situation, on the demise of our colleague, and added on the protection ability for the institution of Parliament. So this was on a specific matter. I know the Minister will speak to us again when we equally meet with him, and we will share with the entire population our engagement over the myriad issues on security that we have raised with them. And I know they are coming to brief us on same. And certainly my security, your security, our parents, my children are all going to be part of that brief. And that is also going to happen this week. So I'm sure you and yourselves will certainly hear from him again. He's not been running away from media. It's just part of the job. When matters break and you're in theater, and here theater, I mean when you're in operation, it's not easy to just come and speak. And he speaks with authority. Mind you, he is the immediate first person speaking for and on behalf of His Excellency the President in respect of security. And as such, he must speak verbatim what the situation is. So he cannot just rise up and come and speak with us without proper briefing. And so I definitely will assure you, as a representative of the people of this country, so minded and mandated, the Minister will come back and speak to us and give us better and further explanation as to the generic situation of public safety and security at large in this country.
I'm sure that you will not fault me if, like other Ghanaians, we feel that this is an afterthought, what you've just said. But very soon we'll be going to the polls. How do you feel about Ghanaians going to the polls and feeling like the people's representatives have failed the people by putting their own security concerns ahead of the security concerns of the people? Wouldn't it have been appropriate if you addressed, or if you invited the Minister to address both issues at the same time to give the larger populace the feeling that we should rest assured that the people in charge of security are doing their jobs?
Thank you very much, Gifty. I wouldn't fault you, but for the benefit of the doubt, I would serve your reporters in Parliament a copy of our communication to the sector minister, demonstrating that this is not an afterthought. This is work in progress. And we're doing same to ensure that we all report to you. I gain nothing by behaving in that stead. The most important thing for us is that we work with processes and procedure. And so you can only have him when it favors his schedules. Admittedly, this instruction was issued by the Speaker last week when the matter broke. We already had indicated to him that we're going to hold this engagement. And it's not only for the Minister of Interior, it is for the entirety of the security architecture. We've written to the Minister of National Security, we've written to the Minister of Defense, and all of us together will share in the same exercise we're in. Your guess is as good as mine. We are living in an era where the body politic temperature is heightening because campaign has kicked in. It is proper and fitting that the people's representatives are thoroughly and adequately briefed on the preparations, for instance, by the National Elections Task Force, who at all times when we are going for general elections, prepare and offer us their deployment strategy and how they will go about events. So certainly he has no choice but to come and offer us those better and further particulars or information which will feed all of us and grant all of us the assurance that we very much deserve and need.
And I'm grateful for your patience, Mr. Champo. I just probably wrap up with this particular question about the retooling again. I want to know, did he provide details on the number of police personnel we are looking to recruit? What is the plan? How soon are we recruiting them? And how many?
Thank you very much. Because this was a plenary conversation and he was making a statement, we didn't have the opportunity. It was a closed meeting. And whatever happened there, I can't even disclose here. I can only speak to the issues that he came to address out here. And in his address to the press, he did not offer any further details like you want me to do now. But once I get him in a committee meeting, I would be able to be clothed with the right conversation and then impress upon him to equally engage the press and feed us with the exact conversation as he raises. On top of my head, I can only speak to a few, but certainly this is a matter which is still building up. And so if you wouldn't mind, I would grant you the opportunity, and I also seek your indulgence that permit us to do the engagement. You know, your men are more than I can carry in this house. You have Opoku Gapo here, you have Abednego Asante here. Too many. I can't dodge them. They will certainly pull me to your cameras, to your microphones, and I'll respond appropriately, gifted.
Mr. Champon, I say a very big thanks to you for your patience, and today you've understood the technical processes that we go through to put some of this information out. If you have any final words, I'll take that, but if not, that's it for me for now.
It's been such a wonderful period, unfortunately, speaking post the demise of my brother and friend, Eko, whom I served on this very committee with, that we are this era. I am saddened, but we have to work. And I pray that every person in this country will see the improvement in security. And I urge the security services to please let your actions flow for all to see. Our president has given an instruction, and I pray that you follow through with that instruction to give better assurance to the teeming population and ourselves as citizens. Thank you for the opportunity to address your team and our country via your network. Thank you. Thank you.
Live from Parliament, that is Seth Champon. He's a chairman for the Defence and Interior Committee. Well, if you're just listening, Parliament gets 200 more police officers. In the long run, they're looking to give them at least 800 police officers that will make the police station at Parliament a division on its own. And parliamentarians will have security both during the day and at night, according to the Interior Minister, who was in the House to brief them in a closed session and later brief the media. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about this. You can send us a WhatsApp on 054-010-9009. That's 054-010-9009. How do you feel about this? I mean, I've been asking a lot of questions, including, will this not reduce our police public population? He says there is a plan to retool and increase the number of police officers we have, so it won't. Do you believe that? What do you think? Let me hear from you. But the security experts and analysts have been speaking, increased police visibility across the country. That's the call also by some Ghanaians to the hierarchy of the Ghana Police Service following a string of armed robbery attacks that we've seen in recent weeks. The call has been necessitated by what some have described as a heightened sense of insecurity after some public officials as well as ordinary Ghanaians were attacked by suspected armed robbers. We've been gauging the thoughts of some Ghanaians on these developments. For some travelers at the New Plan Station in Accra who spoke to us, it is time for increased patrols on major roads as they accuse the police of not doing enough to curtail the recent incidents of highway robbery.
Yeah, day and night. But the drama do police in Ibia work.
I'm mountain himself. Oh, kind of so your mountain police barrier. Obeko kakra no we see police for kwan so. Kumasi
barrier, Kumasi from Accra to Kumasi barrier bia work kwan so bia esikrom ensi wiram. E wiram so na am Roberts no so wo. Mi wa am ya adwuma so ma de eti.
The police are supposed to be patrolling day and night. In fact, all their barriers are within the towns and communities. There are no police barriers in the bushes. When I got attacked by the armed robbers, they ran away immediately they heard the police siren.
After all, VIP no police. Womunina kwasa kwa yakwa ya de yankwana na nam saa na nkofo no ha ya adwen na say idea nka every station bia cars na bu cars police abandi ama police for no abu wo se nkomde patrol kwan no so station bia wo ayi bia no wo se dura najo a nkomde patrol kwan no so because am Roberts no me ebi che me no me hu se ka bi so na light na aso mu hu se police na no mu nyina ya o ma dwen se nkomu to wirem awana kwana ukuratuo no ka se dabi enye ye fence enye police enti wo de tuo hia ka na e ba no 10 ye ansa no munya kwa ba robo ye e wa akachi enti se wo mu yusu ye fence wo mu petrol cars no na wo mu tim na sebi etuo ba kokura na eda wo mu ho a wo mu hu se wo mu esari no e ba pe wo mu nyina bedwane.
The main fact is, you see, the Ghana police, what they have been doing is so bad in the sense that, you see, these armed robbers, it seems they have something to do with the police. It's something that they've, come together to do, in the sense, the robbers, as they are coming, and the police too will be patrolling.
Meanwhile, security analyst Adam Bona has also been sharing tips on how you can stay safe in your encounter with robbers.
That you were home and your house was broken into. Don't give them what I call the eye contact. Whenever you begin to give them eye contact, first thing that comes into their mind is either you are trying to see whether you know them, or you are trying to identify them, and in most cases, especially robberies that take place at home. Those who would rob you at home usually know you, they've been trailing you, they've been coming around, they've surveyed you. So there will be people you would have encountered. And so giving them an eye contact means that you are likely to identify them, and chances are that they will kill you or they will harm you. So don't do that, but as much as possible, still advance to know who are these people. How is he walking? Is he limping? Is he tall? Is he, fat? Is he chubby? How is he like? Don't attempt to negotiate. Whatever they ask you to give it out to them. If you're on the highway, as you drive, especially in the night, be vigilant. If you encounter a roadblock and you realize that you just run into it, attempting to run usually would get them far into your vehicle because they think that once you run, there are two things. You are running with the money, or you are running with whatever the goodies they wanted, or you go and blow the alarm. You go and report, and police will come. And so they will first of all try to immobilize you. But if you were about 100 meters away from the scene, and you can turn, and usually don't panic. Most people panic. And the moment you panic, chances are that you are going to go into a ditch. Once you panic, chances are that your reflexes are not good, your ability to think, you are not able to think straight. You go into a ditch, and sometimes, even if they don't kill you, they'll beat you mercilessly because why are you running?
Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. And I am still receiving some of your messages. I'll try and share that at the end of the program. So I'm having a slight challenge with the WhatsApp platform, but keep them coming. I want to talk to you about motherhood. It is not a joke. But then pause to imagine being a mother and being a child at the same time. And that's a very familiar story all over the world. And here in Ghana, we're no exception. Every year on 11th of October, the International Day of the Girl is celebrated. This year's theme is My Voice, Our Equal Future, and it is focused on reimagining a better world inspired by adolescent girls. So these adolescent girls worldwide are trying to assert their power as change makers. But are they being presented with these opportunities, to empower them to have their voices heard? So today we're focusing on teenage mothers who are striving to make it in life. I'm joined in the studio by Melanie Abuada. She wants to share her story with us. She's a young mother. And I also have here in the studio Sifa Alexander Buedo. He's the Regional Director, Department of Children, Greater Accra. And that's the department under the Ministry of Women and Children and Social Protection. Lady and gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me start with you, Melanie, right? I hope I'm getting so you need to speak up for me a little bit. How are you? Right, you have to speak up a bit. Okay, the way I'm speaking up, you can hear me, but the way you're speaking, I can't hear you. So what is your story?
Okay, my story is I completed JHS 3, 2015. We were two, but one went to school, but because of there's no enough money for the two of us to go, so I was learning seamstress. So in learning the seamstress, then I fall into that trouble, giving birth.
But how do you say you fell into that trouble? Okay. Why was it trouble?
Okay, I saw some. A certain guy told me that he'll be with me so that he'll be with me. Later on, I got pregnant. I told him he didn't refuse. He told me that he'll take care of it, but later on he refuses. I'm giving birth now. He refuses not to take care of his son.
How old is your son?
Getting to 3 years, 13 January.
Your son is getting to 3 years. Yes. How do you take care of him?
Okay, I've been selling at the street side.
What do you sell?
I sell A1 bread.
A1 bread?
Yes.
And so you get money from, how much do you make in a day?
Okay, in a day, at times I get 20 Ghana, at times I get 25 Ghana. Then we manage it.
So do you do save some of the money? Do you do susu
yes.
or something?
I've been
how much do you save in a day?
A day 5 cedis.
You save 5 cedis.
Yes.
And how much do you spend on your child in a day?
In a day, I and him, we spend 10 cedi, at times 15 cedi.
Between 10 and 15 cedis. So if in a day you make between 20 and 25 cedis, and then you put 5 cedis in savings, then you spend the rest. Between you and your child, you spend the rest.
Yes. Unless I went and saw before I'll get another money
for the next day. Where are your parents?
Okay, my parents. my father got accident crossing the road. A car hit him, so they are in Sewan. They are at herbalist over there.
That's your father?
Yeah.
What about your mother?
My mother is with him over there.
Okay, so you are left to take care of yourself and take care of your child.
Yeah, because of that, my father was annoyed of me, so that I shouldn't come close to them.
And I can say this is a very familiar story. Personally, my mother was a teenager when she had me and had my brother. So, Mr. Boydu, I'm coming to you, and I'll come back to you. So we'll talk about how you got into this trouble. I mean, I know when you are young, you are excited, you have all kinds of feelings going through your body. But there are young people, I'm hoping, who are listening to you, so we can also share lessons with them as well. But Mr. Boydu, what is the ministry or the department doing to commemorate this particular day as we look to empower adolescent girls?
Yes, the first one was a press release, and that was held by the minister on the 5th of October.
What's contained in the press release in terms of the activities that the ministry or the department is undertaking?
Yeah, one of them is what we are doing, that's the media discussion. Okay. We also have guest meet. So guests all over the country were brought to Accra, that was on Friday, and then to go through some skills.
Okay.
And
what kind of skills are you giving these girls? Tell us, what kind of skills?
Oh, it's training, and it's basically about adolescent reproductive health.
Okay.
For them to.
So you're advising them how to take care of themselves so they don't get pregnant and stuff like that?
Exactly.
I see.
Exactly.
And so, Melanie, I'm going to ask you this. Did you get, this is the training that the ministry said they're giving to young people. Do you think if you had somebody, let me ask, didn't your parents tell you about, you know, I was told when I was growing up to stay away from men because they can do something to you. Did you get any kind of advice like that?
I got it, but it was a mistake.
It was a mistake. Okay, so if there are young people who are watching you today, what kind of advice would you want to give them?
I'll tell them that they shouldn't be like, because if some nowadays many men like making lies, they'll use money they'll tell you, like, they'll give you money because they shouldn't put their mind on their money so that they'll follow them. So they should take care of themselves. They should.
Yeah. And you look at yourself right now and the struggles you're going through to take care of your son. What do you think is needed for people like you to be empowered, to speak up and be part of the development process of the country? Okay. You can think about that question for a while whilst I wrap up with you, Mr. Boydu. What kind of support are you giving people like and Melanie, who still have, I mean, she's young, she has energy, she's taking care of her child, but there are certain things that she can still do to make her life better and that of her child?
I've had a discussion with her, and I've learned that she was learning trade. He was learning
to be a seamstress.
To be a seamstress, okay. Yeah. And,
so
and then the pregnancy came, and because of that, he couldn't continue.
Okay.
I just wanted to take the opportunity to say that there are a lot of girls, young girls, when they get pregnant, they may be going to school, they may be learning their skills, but the moment they get pregnant and they give birth, they don't go back to school.
Yeah.
Now, the Minister of Education has brought a policy, and the policy is that all teenage mothers must go to school. And so all parents, community members, NGOs, civils, everybody must support. Teachers, even her classmates should all support this girl to go back to school so that...
Is the ministry not supporting her to go back to maybe either go back to school or to study, to learn the trade?
That's also part. What I'm saying is both school and learning trade.
Okay.
Some are learning trade, but they get pregnant, they don't go back to learn the trade again. Some are going to school, they get pregnant, they don't go back to the school again. So what we are saying is that now all teenage mothers must go to school, and that we should all support them to go so that they can realize their vision. Now, the young girls, teenagers, they have visions. If you ask them, who do you want to be in future? Yeah. Some will tell you, I want to be like you, madam, as you are sitting down, a journalist. Some will say, I want to be an MP, a teacher, a pastor, and the like.
It took a teacher to point me into journalism school. So it takes people that we put in the lives of these young people to point them in the right direction. And I hope you have programs like that at the department.
Of course.
That support girls like this. Okay, I'll take the final word for her. So I was asking you, what do you think will help you to make you feel more empowered, to make you feel bold enough to step out there and do more? Go back to the dressmaking, for example, so that you can set yourself up rather than selling on the streets that fetches you 25 cedis.
Yes, please. That one could be better than.
So what is it? I'll need you to say it yourself.
Okay, please. I need help, but I don't know who collects my son so that I'll go on. That's the problem.
I see. Well, Mr. Boydo, I think that this gives you an idea what they need. So people like, for teenagers who have children, they want somebody to take care of their children whilst they get the chance to go out there and to work. So I hope that we'll take it away from there. So yesterday was actually the day for the International Day of the Girl Child. We're celebrating or commemorating that today. The Ministry of Children, Gender Protection, the Department of Children, they've been working with young girls. And look around you. There are so many young girls who just need somebody to point them in the right direction. You can contribute your quota. I've been doing this with Sefa Alexander Boydo. He's the Regional Director, Department of Children, and also Melanie Agbada, who has been sharing her story with us. And as we talk about girls, let's do some politics. After 6 successful elections in the Fourth Republic, many Ghanaians yearn for a real third force, which could break the duopoly of the NPP and the NDC. Now, while the two parties grow stronger, the chances of other political parties such as the Convention People's Party, People's National Congress, the PNC, the Progressive People's Party, PPP, they continue to remain bleak. The hope for them, mainly, it is due to financial and logistical constraints. Well, that's what some say. Ahead of the December polls, your election headquarters will put the lens on these minority parties and assess their prospects beyond the latent roles that they play in pushing election into runoffs. We started from the camp of the CPP yesterday. Today, we're in the PNC's camp. Manuel Kranting reports.
Founded by ex-President Hilary Liman in 1992 as Ghana returned to multi-party democracy, the People's National Convention was set up as a vehicle that would hopefully deliver the presidency back to Liman after the 1981 coup.
I call on all, in the true spirit of patriotism, to come together as one united country, determined to solve the many and difficult problems facing us. Let us marshal the rich human resources available throughout the country and together march forward in unity and service to the nation. All of us have a duty to work to salvage our shattered economy and regain the lost image and prestige of Mother Ghana.
Unlike his performance in both rounds of the 1979 elections, which won him the presidency, Hilary Liman, who led the PNC in 1992, managed 6.7% of total ballots cast, winning in only 5 constituencies across 3 regions: Upper East, Upper West, and the Western region. In contrast to his plan of recapturing power, Liman's abysmal show in 1992 will set a tone for the performance of the PNC in subsequent elections. In 1996, the party fielded a new flag bearer, Edward Nasigui Mahama, but its electoral woes deepened as it managed just 3% of total votes cast, less than half of Liman's tally in 1992, and losing all the 5 constituencies in the process. Over the years, Edward Mahama's mantra on job creation did not help the PNC garner the much-needed votes.
My campaign theme is New Beginning, New Deal, New Force. New Force, I'm targeting 18 to 35-year-olds.
Well, not much became of that. I have here in the studio one person who stood on the ticket of this particular party somewhere in 2012. We'll talk to him. Hassan Ayaga. He is a flag bearer and the founder of the APC as the All People's Congress. Mr. Ayaga, you're welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. How is it going? How are your campaigns going?
Great.
Great.
So well.
Great is it has a lot of details. It's pregnant with a lot of details. How great is great?
How great is when people begin to buy into your policies, people begin to believe in your ideas, and people begin to listen to you and have hope and confidence in you, and telling you that, yes, you are the man of the people, you're the man of the moment, you're the leader we can trust, and you're the leader we are waiting for.
I see.
7th of December.
Okay.
That is great.
That's the sense you get when you go out on campaign.
That is what the people tell you.
So I would like for us to talk about, we'll have our conversation under 3 key blocks, like I did yesterday with Mr. Ivor Greenstreet. So we talk a bit about the party, and you have 2 parties, so we'll try and put them together. And then we'll talk a bit about the policy or the governance alternatives you're providing to what we already know, for which reason you think people of Ghana should take you seriously and vote for you. And then we'll talk a bit about election 2020. And I'm hoping that we have time. Yesterday we didn't make enough time. So if you will stick to your points for me, then we can make it within the time. Sure. Let's start with the party, the PNC. You started with the PNC in 2012. In 2012, you had 24,617 votes, and that gave you 0.22%, which was a massive improvement on the previous election performance of the PNC. It was 0.9%. So there was something there that worked for you. What was it?
Rebranding of the PNC was the most important thing. As you know, these minor political parties lost the grounds because most times after election they go to sleep, and then the other bigger party who have been in power continue to campaign. Okay, and in their process of campaign, they were not actually campaigning on policies and issues. They decide to campaign on vote buying. So
vote buying?
Yes, vote buying. Vote buying is one thing that has kept NDC and MPP in power. Because you see, when you starve the people of their rights and starve them of development, starve them of policy, good development, and then you come back and say, look, vote for me, I'm going to do A, B, and C, and the people decide not to vote. Then you now entice them with money. So it's called vote buying. So the NDC and the MPP continue to make the people suffer and then come behind an election year and spend so much trying to convince the people, not because they're the best, but because they have the resources to waste.
And because smaller parties like the PNC
minority
don't have
parties,
because they don't have the resources, they beat you to it.
No, they even add them to it. They were adding them to it.
How do you mean? Like they
were buying leadership of the minority parties to do their bidding for them.
So they bought you in 2012?
No, they didn't. That is why I stood on my own and left the PNC and decided.
Were there attempts to buy?
They have severally.
The NDC?
Both parties will come to you talking to you.
So the NDC and NPP came to you.
Both
PNC
parties will approach you. They will approach you, telling you things, telling you stuff. But you see, what we don't understand about politics is not about what the NDC has and what the MPP has. It's about what are they putting out there to change the lives of the people. And that is where I have a problem.
Okay.
I have a problem with their kind of leadership because it's some kind of deceit form of leadership.
You said something interesting, Mr. Ayaga. You said that they tried to buy the leadership of the party and that's why you left. Do you think so? They bought Mr. Mahama? Dr. Mahama.
Dr. Mahama is an ambassador at large. What do you mean? What does that
so
mean
they bought him.
What does that mean to you? I don't know. I'm only telling you who he is.
You can't say you don't know. You just said that you know. This is the person you work with.
I'm saying I didn't work with Edward Mahama. I took over from Edward Mahama.
Yes. So certainly there was some interaction.
Of course. If somebody serves in an office in a different political realm, all right, and then he has a leader of the party, don't forget, Edward Mahama is the flag bearer. He was the flag bearer and the leader of the PNC. So if the leader of your party is serving as an ambassador to another political party, what it means is that they have reduced your leadership to the level of ambassadorial position.
So he was bought by the NPP?
I don't know the word to use, but I think that he has reduced the leadership of the PNC to ambassadorial position.
Are you saying this because he has family within the NPP? Because you have family within the NDC as well?
I have family within the NPP as well. I'm not talking about family here. I'm talking about issues here.
Okay.
I'm talking about the policies. I'm talking about the link between smaller political parties' leadership and the bigger political parties' leadership. why the smaller political parties continue to do it and their votes continue to go down. Because
what's wrong with having him as an ambassador if you say he's reduced, Dr. Mahama reduced the position to an ambassador position, but what's wrong with bringing people on board? What happened to the winner takes all?
That is my policy. That's the policy of the APC. The winner takes the all-inclusive
That's what the NPP
system
has done with him, isn't it?
That the NPP could have done that with somebody else, not with the leader of the party.
Why not him?
Yeah, because he holds the party. When you take the leadership of when you take the head off, what is left? Nothing.
So you've got the whole body.
The body is empty. It's lifeless.
Okay, so what you said worked for you. My question, which has brought us all the way here, is that you came in, you say you came in and then you rebranded the party.
Sure.
But the 0.22% that you got, or 22% that you got in 2012 was also a reduction of the work or of the numbers that the PNC had in 1999 and in I think 2008. 2008.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, the PNC started losing votes and seats. From 7%, it came down to 0.22%. From 4 MPs, it came down to 0 MPs. With the appearance of Hassan Ayaga, I didn't even know the level of the PNC at the time I took it over. What I knew was that there was nothing. PNC didn't, people even had forgotten about the word PNC.
Well, they had gotten to 0.9%.
That was the last election.
Yes.
Not the time I picked it over.
Okay.
So you cannot tell whether it was even 0.9 or it was a negative position. But I believe it was a negative position. That's my belief.
It's not scientific, but,
yes.
but yeah, go on with the point. So the point is that you think your 0.22% was a facelift for the party.
I mean, I think we're here to talk about APC.
Yes, we are. I told you we're doing it in blocks.
Yes.
So we're wrapping up with that.
I don't think the PNC people in the PNC were serious as at then.
Okay.
They didn't want leadership. They didn't want power sharing. They didn't want winning political parties. They just wanted to hold positions in order to market themselves and use those positions for their personal gains. That was my problem. Oh. And I didn't want to be part of such. I don't spend a lot of money just to somebody to recognize me.
I see.
I wanted us to change a different, I wanted us to even have power sharing.
I see.
Even though it's supposed to be a gradual process.
Let's talk about APC now. You broke away from the PNC, formed your party. People seem to sometimes consider you as the comic relief for the group when it comes to presidential candidates. Why do you think so?
I don't know. You are telling me, so you should tell me.
I mean, we remember the Ayari cough, etc. People seem to feel you give them a good laugh.
If you have an ill health and you sit in this studio and cough, should I not take you serious?
You should.
Thank you. Did the cough distract your seriousness or your policy?
But you know what happened back then? People made all kinds of jokes with it.
Let them make it. That's the perception of people.
Okay.
People make jokes with everything.
Does that bother you?
When Nana Akufo-Addo was inaugurated as president, he coughed throughout. People didn't say, nah, cough. You see, when people begin to distract you, don't allow that to be on your way. Move on. Build on with what you want to do and keep on moving.
Does the perception bother you?
It doesn't at all. Because I'm not such person that they think I am. And that was not my intention. So because it wasn't my intention, I don't really give a damn about that. Okay. Sorry, my word.
That's all right. Let's talk about the governance and policy initiatives that you are bringing on board. The reason why you think the NPP is bad for business and Ghanaians should choose you. Let's start, for example, with security. Because yesterday we ran out of time. I wanted to talk about it, but we ran out of time. And I don't want to do that today. So let's start with security. A lot of things have happened in terms of security. Recently, there have been so many armed robberies. The member of parliament has been killed. You can talk about the professor who was killed in his home. So many things. What's your assessment of how the governing NPP has dealt with these security issues?
I always give the NPP less than 40% when it comes to security.
Why?
Because they have not shown the way of how to manage security. They've rather shown another way of how to help distract security. You know what happened when they took over arms of government as a party. Their own party boys called the Delta forces went ransacking all public offices, taking people out of the offices and putting their own men. Okay, the Delta forces went to toll booths, even went to MCC office and sacked people.
But those people were punished.
They were never punished. They were sent to court and the court freed them.
1,800.
That cannot be a way of fighting security. Such high crimes, such high
and they
level.
were made to sign a bond of good behavior.
That is not helping. Now, let me tell you, the security system in this country is very bad. It's very bad for several reasons. What is it that we are doing to enhance security? That's the question you should be asking. What is it that we are doing to make sure that the Ghanaian people are safe as they go out, as they do things, as they undo their businesses, and as they run on their daily activities and their families? We haven't done much. What is the ratio to security to the individual citizen?
Now that you've mentioned that, I want you to bring this, and I don't know if you have heard this already. Just this afternoon, the Interior Minister was in Parliament, and he's announced that they're going to give the members of Parliament day and night security. They're adding about 200 police personnel to what they have in Parliament, so that the members of Parliament will have some both at home and some with them during the day.
That is the wrong way of tackling security. You don't just pick certain people and give them security and think that you are solving the problem. You're not solving the problem, you're compounding the problem. Because security is for all. The APC talks about security for all. What is the way to put security for all? We need to deploy and train proper policemen, not foot soldiers, not party foot soldiers. What do you have for those security agencies? Political party wins power, and then they put their party vigilante foot soldiers, has national security, has police security, has fire service, and disrupt the attention and the leadership of the police commission. What do we have? Look at our streets, dark. How many policemen are on the street patrolling and making sure that everything is in order? How many?
The argument is that members of Parliament are exposed. They are at high risk and need protection.
The argument is not about members of police, Parliament being exposed. Everyone is a Ghanaian and deserves to have same security as members of Parliament. If you're doing the good work as a parliamentarian, you're supposed to be loved, not to be hated. So when you do other things, that is when you have fear. But when we have proper security system and put up a structure that have information in a database of every Ghanaian, we'll be able to tackle it. APC will put them a national data system that will capture details of every Ghanaian, from your fingerprint, from your facial recognition, from your, details, where you work, and put cameras all over the country in order to beef up security.
Isn't that what the MPP is doing already?
I don't know what they're doing. I'm telling you what I'm going to do.
Yeah, if you tell us what, you're going to do, and we feel like we're already getting it, then you don't give us an alternative.
I don't know what you're doing. I'm telling you what I want to do.
We've seen some cameras in town.
I don't know how many.
When it comes to the national data system you refer to, they've talked about the Ghana card. They've talked about integrating all these DVLA card, Senate card, and everything. They said that that's what they want to do with it. They talk about digitization as well.
Cards. These are not. There's a difference between issuing a card and having a data.
The card has your data in the system.
No.
Okay, help us understand your data system.
The national data system of the APC is a special database that has features of every Ghanaian, from your workplace, from your blood group, from your fingerprint, facial recognition, the number of cars you have, where you live, the number of wives you have, how many children you have, how many properties you have.
The number of husbands you have too.
I don't know whether you have 10 husbands, or the number of girlfriends, that's your cup of tea. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you that this is what we want to do.
I see.
And when we have that, we have a perfect picture and details of every Ghanaian.
Assuming you become president, will you continue this process you're describing with the Ghana card system?
The Ghana card is just an issuing of card. It's not a data system. Don't get confused.
But it captures the data of Ghanaians.
Don't get confused.
I'm not confused
using
at
data
all,
card
Mr.
and
Mahama.
data
I'm
system.
very clear.
My name is not Mr. Mahama. My name is Mr. Hassan
Ayaga. I beg your pardon. I'm very clear in my mind what I'm saying.
All right. So come down and listen more.
So the point I'm making, Mr. Ayaga, is that if you talk about a national data system, the argument has been made. The Ghana card is supposed to be a platform where details of Ghanaians are recorded into the system. And the TIN numbers that they introduce, for example, these are all things that are supposed to track people. I'm asking, will you continue such a program as part of your national data system you're proposing, or are you scrapping it to start a whole different
There's
system?
a difference between issuance of card and data system. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, to understand. A data system means more than an institution like Ghana card. Ghana card institution, they issue card. Data system is like monitoring and having details of everybody. Look, when you go to the bank and take 5,000, it will definitely reflect in the system that you, Akusi, has gone to take 5,000 Ghana cedis. And we have proper information of you, your fingerprint. So, for instance, the incident that just happened, it's very easy to go there and have a special forensic unit that will have data, will have fingerprint and feed it to the data system. And the data system will show and feed you with those people who were there and all the information that you have. Blood including all that. With the national identification card, it's just a mere card. It's just an institution that issues cards just to identify you. But this one is something that keeps proper detail. So national identification card will be deriving their information from the national data system. BNI will get their information from the national data system. The police will get their information from. So every unit will be given certain information when they need it. So these are two entirely different units.
I get it now. It's perfectly clear to me now. And it sounds pretty interesting to me. And I mean,
it's going to cut down corruption. All these things that we see.
Hopefully.
Of course. Hopefully. Because you see, when you have 10 cars and you work here as a producer or presenter, the system will show that you earn maybe 10,000 Ghana cedis and you have a car that is $100,000. It doesn't tally.
So when you're spending more than you earn,
it will show.
Then
and then
it sounds like a very elaborate system that maybe we can get. I mean, I'm interested in security, some of these systems. So it's something that I would love to talk about it. But because of time, let's move on from the security to education. One of the key things when you ask the NPP what they have done and that a lot of voters are even talking about is free SHS, something that seems to be working for the party. What is the APC?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have a free senior high school. There's no alternative to it. What are we doing better? The better thing is that, you see, when you want to give free education, there's difference between free senior high school and free education. The NPP gave free senior high school. That's not free education. Free education, you start from the primary level, the basic, the entrance. You see, people need to understand that when you want to give free education, your perception and your reason for giving free education is to allow a lot of students to get into enrollment, to enroll into the school. But when you give free senior high school, the students are already in school. You're not increasing enrollment. So the APC policy that free education from the primary level, which means that people or children who are less privileged to have opportunity to get to school will now get the opportunity to get into school because it's free. So you now increase enrollment of students. Are you getting the difference? Now, when you talk about senior high school is just, I'll call it like a subsidy. All right? You people are in school, you're struggling.
So you subsidize it, but you don't make it free?
No, I'm talking about the MPP senior high school free. It's like a subsidy given to senior high school students. But you see, I have a problem with that one. The quality is a big problem. Because we have students, whether you pass or not, you have been promoted. Whether you failed or you were in the class or you were never in the class, you've been promoted. Whether you were
so
pregnant.
How will an APC government deal with that problem?
Then that is what we want to do. Quality free education. So we'll give you free education and tell, look, I, Hassan Ayaga, leader, president of this country, I'm giving you education free. But it is your responsibility to make it work. If you fail, I will kick you out of school. Become the best student so that we will build a human resource base.
So it will be merit-based.
It will be merit-based. You get free education, but you need to qualify.
I see.
And then we go on to free tertiary education. So the APC is talking about free education and free tertiary education. You see, the MPP senior high school free education is going to be, we're going to have what is called mass dropout of senior high school students very soon. Because one, they get free education, senior high school, free senior high school, and then they pass or they fail, and then they get another stumbling block in front of them. That is tertiary. So you come and then you have, boom, roadblock.
I see. So free education, but free education from the very basic level, but as you go higher, you merit the free
so that
education.
we have best out of the best.
I see. Interesting. Let's talk briefly about health. The NHIS is one of the, lots of people have said, one of the best things that the NPP under John Kufuor gave us. But we're seeing that it has a lot of problems. What is the alternative when it comes to health that you're presenting?
The NIA needs to work. What we have experienced over the years is that people have NIA card, get to the hospitals, and they're only giving malaria, paracetamol and other few tablets. That
very restricted access to.
And it becomes a problem. We need to understand that we need to prioritize our institutions and what we want to do for our people. Health is a very important sector in our life. Without health, the nation will collapse. And we need to understand that when you can give free education, be able to build access to healthcare, not just building structures alone and leaving them. We need to have access to medication, access to blood bank, access to consumables, access to doctors, access to health.
So what's the policy direction the APC is bringing to deal with this problem?
That is what I'm talking about. Access to all the things
What is it you're doing to create that access? What is it?
Putting up the institutions, proper institutions in place. What we are doing, the health, we are going to give free primary health care, okay, and then give a secondary health care that comes with a certain percentage. People who are not working get free health care. Okay. People who are unemployed get free health care. People who work are going to have insurance-based system. We're going to bring in an insurance system where when you work, you contribute to your insurance scheme. So every worker must have an insurance card. So we're going to make sure that there's certain insurance companies.
Basis.
Thank you.
Those who have free access to healthcare is on a need basis.
It's a need basis. Right? So those who pay more get different kind of class of healthcare.
Okay.
And those who pay less get different kinds of healthcare.
Okay.
But then gradually, everybody get the basic one, which is the primary healthcare.
Okay.
So that we can protect our lives, defend our people, and make it work.
I hope that we have prepared you well today for the debate on Thursday.
The debate is an easy thing for me.
It's an easy thing for you. We'll see how it goes. I wanted us to talk about...
The whole problem about the debate is just 2 hours, 30 minutes.
Don't worry.
And I can sit and talk for 2 hours, 30 minutes.
Don't worry. It's to be able to be concise and put your points across. I would love for us to talk about the economy and transportation, but I've run out of time. 2020, where do you see yourself? You think you do better than you did for the PNC in 2012?
I think the APC is winning the 2020 elections. And it's going to be serious. Look at this. Listening to me every day from the past few, let's say 3 years. Ghanaians have seen the leadership of the NDC and the MPP. They know what the NDC and the MPP can offer.
So I will take this as your final words, and I need you to address this to the voters.
Yes.
Okay, address this to the voters. Why should they take Hassan Ayaga ticket on the APC seriously, and why should they vote for you?
Ghanaians have seen the leadership of the NDC and the MPP, and they are not satisfied with the kind of leadership that they have seen so far. Yes, they are yearning for a third force, and that third force is not going to come from the NDC or recycling the MPP. Because we've seen it. We cannot go back from bad to worse. We need to transform and move from better to good and to better, best. I am giving you the opportunity that, look, when you give the mandate to Hassan Ayaga, 2020, it's not going to be like NDC, it's not going to be an MPP, it's going to be policy-based economy that will transform your life and put sustainable policies that will sustain this economy, not promises that we're going to lie to you and win elections and give you excuses. I'm not interested in that. And don't forget, I'm not interested in 8 years term. I am only interested in 4 years to show you the different kind of leaders we have and transform this country for the MPP and the NDC to see that they've really failed and they are corrupt institutions.
Hassan Ayaga is the flag bearer of the All People's Congress, the APC. He stood before for the PNC in 2012. He wants to be your president. You've heard him. Mr. Ayaga, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your time. This is still The Pulse with me, Gifty and Apia. Remember, there is the big debate on Thursday. Mr. Ayaga will be there. You'll have all the other presidential candidates on the minority political parties. Looks like I'm missing out on my words. Let me take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. So we're wrapping up. We'll do so. We're talking about your eyes. And as the world continues to be more and more digitized, many are moving towards computers and other gadgets with screens. But how safe are these for the health of your eyes? This afternoon, I'm hosting officials of Robert & Sons, the optical experts who've been helping Ghanaians maintain healthy eyes. They've been doing this for 30 years. I'm sure more than some of you are, have spent on this earth. So what is today's lifestyle or today's modern lifestyle meaning for your eye? I have here in studio Daniel E.K. Osei. He's a business development manager for Robert & Sons. Mr. Osei, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gifty.
And I also have here Dr. Felix Amwa, who is an optometrist. So gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to talk to you, start with you, Dr. Phyllis, about our eyes. How bad is it, the time we're spending on our phone? Because, I mean, sometimes you feel very empty when you don't have your phone for a few minutes. Is it that bad, or can we not just deal with it?
Thank you very much. I am very grateful for this opportunity. It's always interesting when, you have a platform to talk about our eyes. Our eyes is one of the key 5 sense organs. Okay, so we use our sense organs to negotiate our environment. Yeah. Our eyes, I like to think our eyes and our vision is the most important of all these 5. That's how I take it. So we need our eyes to be healthy. Yeah. We need our eyes to be in good working conditions, just so we can have our vision also. To talk about smartphones and digital tablets and all that, computer screens, TV, now LED screens all around, they are electronic devices which produces they all produce what we call artificial sources of light. Okay. Mostly the spectra of light we term as blue light. Okay. Blue light is a bit harsh on the eyes. It's not to say it is harmful, otherwise these devices wouldn't be recommended to be used after all. But they are a bit harsh on the eye. In that the eyes are a little sensitive to them, especially in conditions such as a dark room. Okay. Yes. So that's why we go with the advice that whenever you're operating some of these devices, it's okay to have some ambient light on. So your regular bedroom light should be on, or a corner light, or your bedside lamp should be on to ease the stress of this blue light from your various devices, your tablet, your phone, your computer. The stress of the blue light they put on the eye. Once you have ambient light around, then it eases that stress a little.
Okay. Well, that's good advice. I mean, it's not advice. It's advice that I've heard before, but it's very difficult. Sometimes you just want to have the cinema kind of feeling in your room, so you put on put off the light and all. But let me come to you, Ms. Osei. They talking about Robert and Sons and the work that you've done in 30 or so years. What is the Robert and Sons story that you share with Ghanaians? I mean, business-wise, helping Ghanaians to maintain healthy eyes-wise, etc.
All right, Gifty, thank you. Before I come to that, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Ghanaians and the viewers for patronizing our services for the past 30 years. It's our joy to have provided services to Ghanaians to help them see better. Over the past 30 years, we have touched base with every corner of this country, every nook and cranny from the north to the south, east and west. Robert and Sons story is everywhere you see. Now, with a humble beginning from one branch, been able to grow up to 7 branches. Okay. I mean, brick and mortar branches. And currently we are available online as well. Okay. What we are trying to do, or we've done over the period, is to invest in infrastructure, to invest in the latest equipment for eye care, and also to bring convenience and comfort to people.
We'll talk about the other details being available online, and how people can get in touch. But then, when you look at the expansion, it's good. But does it also mean that more and more people are having problems with their eyes? Is that what it means?
Well, over the period, yes. Like Doc said, you realize that the first thing you touch probably when you wake up is your phone, and the last thing when you go to bed. Over the period, a lot of exposure to sunlight, a lot of exposure to certain conditions of the weather has tend to affect our eyes. The thing about the eye is that you never realize the damage until you decide to take a test to see the status of the eye, the health status of it. So over the period, Robert and Sons has been at the forefront, creating awareness for proper eye care, and where there is the need for some curative measures, we have
also taken. Which is why we're excited you're here today with this one. How often should someone check their eyes, Dr. Phyllis?
As often as you have the opportunity, I like to think. Usually that would be a bit age dependent, but the average will be at least once every 2 years.
Once every 2 years.
Yes, but as you age, getting a bit closer to your 40s, 50s, and 60s, then the frequency should increase, because you realize around that time, because the risk factor for most conditions, for most eye conditions, is aging. then there's the more the more of the predisposure to some of these conditions. So as you get older, then it makes more it's prudent to check your eyes a bit more frequently.
I see. I mean, for some, it used to be when we were growing up that when you wear glasses, you are the smartest person. You are the smartest person. And there are some people who still wear glasses that are not medicated. It's just sometimes it actually protects your eyes from the wind. Is that a bad thing?
No, that is no way a bad thing. Where it is bad would be where it wasn't recommended. So, or you didn't get it from a well-recommended place, wayside vendors and what have you. Yes.
Then it becomes a problem?
Yes, it does become a problem because the quality might be lacking. So some of these lenses, when you mention protection, they should have these coatings on the surface that actually protect against the lights and the UV radiations and all of that.
Okay.
But some of the ones you didn't get from the well-recommended places may not have the actual coatings. So they rather expose your eyes to the harmful radiations.
Well, I hope you're taking care of your eyes as we wrap up. I'll take your final words. And Ms. Osei, you were making a point. Let me make that your final words and then we wrap it up.
What? So,
what should people take away from this conversation we've had today? So
there's a need for one to take a look at what the status of the eye is. And if there's a need for someone to do an eye test, it has always been at Roberts and Sons.
So you said you'd give us the online.
I want to do something. You know, we're still in the 30th anniversary celebration mood.
Okay.
And I want to use your platform to offer some free, comprehensive eye tests.
Oh, wow.
To Ghanaians.
Okay, so.
Yes, so I'm going to put out a number.
Okay.
So the first 30 people who are going to call this number after this program will get free comprehensive eye test.
Oh, wow. So I'm writing the number.
The number is 050 151 91 11.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's 050 151 9111. The first 30 people who call this number will get free eye test. Okay, we'll see. If we don't get it today, we'll put it on the screen tomorrow. Don't worry. You can always, we'll get the 30 people
to get it.
And more. Thank you so much for coming. I've been doing this with Roberts and Sons, Daniel E.K. Osei, his business development manager, and Dr. Felix Amwa, who is an optometrist. They've been my guest here, talking Roberts and Sons and taking care of your eyes. The number again is 050 151 9111. There it is on your screens. Call them for a free eye test. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Gifty.
So, as you know, my name is Gifty Andopia. There's more news at myjoyonline.com when you do log on, and I encourage you to do so. Have fun.